Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. I have with me Venu from Venu's Cricket Catch Up, which I'm sure you notice and recognize from his weekly segment, and Asjad from Cricket4Us 2.0, which again I'm sure you recognize, as they've both been in enough videos now. Okay, let's go straight into this because I want to discuss New Zealand versus Pakistan, the Test series that's just happened. New Zealand, to be honest, absolutely destroying Pakistan 2-0 at home to end the year as number one ranked Test nation and really on the charge to that final at Lords as well in the ascendancy. New Zealand winning the first Test by an innings and 107, by 101 runs, and then the second Test by an innings and 176 runs, which was even more of a thrashing. So yeah, as Pakistan fans, not great, but a very, very good showing from New Zealand once again. Okay, Venu, I want to go to you first as a neutral. Were you surprised, firstly, by the result? Because I think you picked New Zealand to win. But were you surprised maybe in the manner that they won? Or were you just thinking, you know what, New Zealand are going to be too good and Pakistan probably not at their strongest?
As neutral, I thought Pakistan will be competitive, but I think the series are competitive in particular sessions, but they couldn't sustain it for the whole Test match, and it kind of really showed with the Williamson Nichols partnership that they kind of let it go there, and they were completely dominated in the during New Zealand's first innings. And the fact that they got 659 for first innings, and Pakistan only got 297, over double their score. It just shows, the difference in quality between the two sides at the moment. Yes, you could argue that New Zealand at the full strength and Pakistan obviously are missing the key playing babar, but even if Azam was playing, I think New Zealand would have still comfortably won anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. For sure, I think what you're saying makes 100% sense. Okay, Asjad, from a Pakistani point of view, very, very briefly, if you can sum it up in a sentence, how would you assess Pakistan's tour of New Zealand?
Wow. Okay. In a sentence, right? Let me try my best. Okay. Pakistan are a result of their badly managed system.
Okay, that's good. Let's go. I don't want to go too much into the nitty gritty of the matches, etc., because I think, look, if you're watching this, whoever guys at home, you would have seen at least clips of the match, or you would have seen the results. You know that we've got thrashed. I don't want to go too much into that. I want to go into maybe the reasons why that might have happened. And first of all, as you said, Babar was absent. So, okay, that's fine. As Venu pointed out, that is, of course, yeah, that is a big blow because he's our best batsman. But I think even bowling wise, we were very, very poor, to be honest with you, and probably more poor in the bowling. Sorry, go on. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that I think Pakistan's bowling over the course of the last year and a half has been a lot worse than their batting. Their batting has been okay. Their bowling has been terrible. They've been hit for, and I've said this is probably the fifth time I'm saying it in a week. They've been hit for over 500 runs 4 times in about 13 months. In how many Test matches? They've not counting Sri Lanka and Bangladesh because that's at home and that's against other teams. But the teams, when they play away, they've been smashed, absolutely battered.
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at the top wicket takers, Carl Jamieson, 16 wickets, Trent Boult, 9, Tim Southee, 6, and of course, nowhere to be seen a Pakistani player, and that's from, 2 Test matches, and I just think it's really, really poor showing, to be honest with you, from... Yeah, go on, Venu.
Can I just add, I think, didn't New Zealand, they just had 1 innings this match, so you've got to take that into account as well. So obviously...
3 innings for 16 wickets.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, Carl Jamieson obviously wreaking havoc. Venu, let's quickly touch upon him before we go into the negatives of Pakistan. Carl Jamieson, how good is he at the moment, and what a start to his Test career?
Yeah, definitely. He's got taken 11 wickets this match. I think he took last Test match. He took a 5 wicket as well.
5, yeah.
And also his batting is quite. He did had a good batting display as well. He looks the real deal. And at 6'8", he's got all the weapons in his bowling arsenal. So I think he's the player to watch out for this year. And yeah, I think New Zealand, are rightfully so, have got number one at the moment in Test team rankings, and they've got such a potent attack, one of the best bowling attacks going. So fair play to New Zealand. They've really found a special player in Kyle Jamieson.
Yeah, yes, very, very special player for sure. And I think he definitely has given something extra to the team for sure. Apart from him, obviously, I want to very briefly touch on Kane Williamson just because of how good he has been as of late. I don't want to go too much into it, just not because, again, I don't rate him. I think he is he is the best Test batsman around at the moment. That double 100, I know Venu loves a double 100 and wanted him to get one. He inevitably got one in the second Test. So Venu's happy about that. Asjad, how good is Kane Williamson right now? Because we know I think it's undoubtedly he's the best Test player around at the moment. I think Babar Azam was the only one who might be informed, but now when you look at the figures, I think Babar Azam averaged around 62, 63 since the start of 2019. Now Kane Williamson averages over that after this past series and just showing his class.
I just want to correct myself. It was 4 innings for 16 wickets. I just messed up in the mathematics for Kyle Jamieson. But yeah, with regards to Kane Williamson, dude, this guy is by far the best batsman in the world right now. Test batsman for sure. In the others, he is still very good, right? Just talking about tests, he's shown his class. I know it's at home. There's a huge point about, yes, it's at home, therefore he's getting runs. But you still have to make runs. He scored over 600 runs in 4 innings or something like that, out of which one of them was a 20. It means he's got 2 double hundreds and 100 in this New Zealand summer, in these four Test matches that he's played. So he's just absolute class. It's hard to argue with that statement that he's the best in the world right now. I think out of all the captains ever, he has the best Test batting average after Don Bradman and then Steve Smith. Don Bradman was 101 and Steve Smith is 70. And next is Kane Williamson at 60 odd. I can't remember, but that's an amazing feat.
Yeah, incredible player and a very, very good captain, as we know. Venu, okay, then before we wrap up on New Zealand, any negatives at all for New Zealand from this Test series? Or is it just a bunch of really positive energy from New Zealand? And as we know, they're in the ascendancy. But is there anything that you saw? Anything at all? It might be nothing. But is there anything, even a small thing that you saw and thought maybe this person didn't quite perform as well as you thought they would, or this is what they could potentially improve on? I know it's a hard question, but I wanted to pick your brain.
Good question. Like, every aspect of their cricket was on fire. The catching was decent. I can't really criticize that. Obviously, the batting was excellent, led by Kane Williamson and Nichols in particular. The bowling, one of the best bowling units going. I would say Ross Taylor's been a bit of a disappointment. Someone of his experience hasn't really got any runs. But to be honest, you've got 7 batsmen there who can, who've been turning up, and one of them were bound to get a century. And fair play to them. They just look too good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was thinking in my head, what is there a specific player or something? And I thought maybe Ross Taylor, just because he's been so good for New Zealand over a number of years. He wasn't maybe at his best, but I'm sure we'll see him back. Go on, Vanny.
I know before we criticise Pakistan, I think New Zealand has just been excellent.
Yeah,
I think any team right now would have struggled against them, and I think you need to put that into perspective when you criticise Pakistan. And they've got one of the best win-loss ratios since May 2017. The win-to-loss ratio is 3.2, and second place is India, 1.9. That's ridiculous. And Australia 1.7, okay? And Pakistan, just to add it, your win-loss ratio is 0.5. So it's under 1. So, but yeah, I think any team would have struggled. And I think you've got to put that into perspective when you criticize Pakistan, which you will do in a moment.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you, Venu. Before we do go on to that, 100%. I think different teams peak at different times, and I think we are in the midst of one of New Zealand's golden generations in terms of their cricket, not just in Test cricket, but all three formats. Obviously, they got to the final of the World Cup. They got to the final of the previous World Cup as well. Yeah, go on, Venu. You want to add something?
Can I just add? Can teams like India, Australia, England give New Zealand like
More
four
credit.
at least four more credit and give them like 4 Test series, a 5 Test match series because they're that good? And if New Zealand come over here, I think they are coming over here. No, I don't know when they're coming, but I think last time they were here, maybe they only had 2 or 3 Test matches. They did. This team deserves more than 3 Test matches. They deserve 4 or 5 against these so-called top nations.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for sure, as you said, so-called top nations, and they don't get as many chances as the so-called top 3 or big 3, as people are now trying to term them. But there shouldn't really be that. And I think I don't want to go too much into that, but I agree with you. There should be more, especially for New Zealand, considering how good they are. There should be more. They should have more exposure to different conditions and different teams. And there's a bit of favoritism there, but I think we've talked about that in depth, Venu, about that, and whether that will change, we'll see going forward. But I 100% agree. New Zealand are, for me, probably the best Test nation at the moment, currently, anyway. Okay, let's go on to Pakistan then. Let's go on to the positives first. I want to go on to that first. For me, Mohammad Rizwan, Asjad, do you want to touch upon him? Because I think he was one of the biggest positives coming out of this series. I don't want to talk about his captaincy because that'll be one of the negatives, I think, for a specific incident. But batting-wise, very, very impressive.
Yeah, I'd say one of the big takeaways for me, there's 2 players. It's Mohammad Rizwan and Fahim Ashraf. I think those 2 were probably the best players for Pakistan overall, right? Yes, Mohammad Rizwan is a brilliant wicketkeeper. We know that. He can drop catches too. Captaincy, yeah, we'll talk about that later. But in terms of his batting, he batted very well. I think he scored 350s this series, if I'm not wrong, or something like that, right? He scored 350s. Fahim Ashraf batted very well with him, so that partnership worked very well. And in every instance, I think there was only one case that I can think of where he didn't come in under pressure, right? Or maybe he came in under pressure every time, right? But he came in that he was the person who was playing for Pakistan in that specific crisis and tried to get Pakistan out of that hole. The only time he didn't succeed was the 186 Pakistan got in the last innings, right? Otherwise, yeah, he's been absolutely sensational. And on top of that, Fahim Ashraf, yes, he's bowled, I don't know, 100 overs or whatever he's bowled now, but his batting has improved since Mohammad Yusuf has trained with him quite a lot over the course of the last few months. So it's definitely visible in the way he bats and in the way he carries himself, especially with the bat. It's not just all hit or nothing. It's hit, recognize which balls should be hit as well, and then bat a lot better. He knows where his off stump is mostly. So I think that's something that I would take away as a positive for sure.
Yeah, I think in very good form and someone we need, especially down the order to get runs, and it's been pretty imperative that he's got runs because the top order's collapsed on a number of occasions. Venu, Fahim Ashraf then, obviously quite a good all-rounder, but I wanted to very briefly touch upon Fawad Alam's 100 because I know you enjoyed that. Can we see Fawad Alam become a mainstay in the Pakistan team, and can he do a decent job in I know South Africa coming to tour Pakistan? Do you think he'll come good? And, that's the start now of him kind of consolidating his position?
Yes, hopefully he does consolidate his position. That was a great innings that he played. Of course, age is against him, but as a batter, I think that's less of an issue. So yeah, probably another couple of years left in his career, and hopefully he can make the most of it.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, yeah, and just to very briefly add about Fahim Ashraf, I think very vital that we've got someone who looks like we may now finally have a seam all-rounder who can bat a little bit, looks decent with the bat anyway, can get you at least 20, 30 on most occasions. And, obviously he got that impressive 90 as well against a very, very good bowling attack and has done decently well with the ball. I don't think he should be a fourth option. He should be a fifth option, but that's something that I think we'll touch upon in the negatives. Okay, let's go on to the negatives. And first of all, I want to touch upon so Naseem Shah and Zafar Gohar both got hit for over 100, and we've briefly talked about this. Ashton, I don't know if you know Venu, but basically that day when New Zealand hit, I think it was 600 odd, as you said. Zafar Gohar and Naseem Shah obviously got spanked everywhere. I think Zafar Gohar went for over 150 runs, and Naseem Shah 140, I think it was. Yeah. And so the Pakistan team of management thought, rather than the captain and the coach in Misbah go and address the media, they sent those two to address the media, almost as if they were punishing them for playing badly that day. And obviously Zafar Gohar is making his debut, and Naseem Shah is very, very young, so they awkwardly were taking questions and kind of being very apologetic for performing not very well, and they weren't protected at all. Then I want to get your opinion as a neutral on that, because I think maybe I'm a bit emotional about it, and so is Ashton to a degree. But in your opinion, I mean, surely you'd expect the captain and whoever else, the senior players or the manager, to take the brunt of the blame, rather than say, we don't want those questions, we don't want the blame. Let's kind of send the two youngsters as lambs to slaughter, basically.
Yeah, I think that's probably the wrong call. I think you got to protect your young players, considering you need to nurture them to become better players. Yes, the manager might think, or maybe they can learn from this experience, maybe be a bit of tough love, but I wouldn't do that. I think that's a bit of a bad move by management. I think the captain has to face the media after such a poor day.
Yep, no, 100%. I think that's very well said and very well put. I don't want to go on to that too much, because I know, Ashad, you agree with those sentiments as well. Let's then go on to Pakistan's bowling. Naseem Shah, very, very good in England, as we all know. They bowled pretty well in England, I thought. Some peaches to Root, some peaches to Ollie Pope. That spring off the top of my head, and I keep on mentioning that because I remember they were very, very good balls. Didn't perform well in this tour or this series. I think regularly, if it's a normal player who is in his mid-20s or a bit older, I'm saying you just stick with him, because it doesn't matter, he'll come good. But I think Naseem Shah's so young, if you did send him back to play domestic cricket and kept tabs on him, like to improve, and then brought him back after a year or even half a year to get his confidence back, that might not be a bad move either. What's your take on it, Usher? What do you think Pakistan should do, and what do you think they will do with him now?
So I'll tell you what I think they will do first. I think they're going to just drop him and then not look at him for like years. Okay, that seems to be the trend Pakistan likes to follow. What I want them to do is not drop him, give him the advice that, okay, go back to domestic cricket, perform domestically, learn the art. Like, I'm telling you, with the old ball, he looks like just an average, very, very average, and that's being nice to him, very average bowler, because he doesn't know where to bowl. He doesn't know what to do in those situations. He's very young. I understand that. But the thing that kind of bugs me is, why is no one trying to guide him? It didn't even look like anyone was trying to help him when he was in the field, right? What I've seen in, and I'm just using Pakistan as an example, but when young players such as Shoaib Akhtar came into the side, Wasim Akram would always guide him and say, do this, do that. And they'd come up and give him some advice. As Shoaib Akhtar got older, Mohammad Asif came in, Mohammad Amir came in, Umar Gul came in. They would pass across this, tricks of the trade, right? Seems like these kids, I'm going to say kids, but these players haven't been offered that, or it seems like they haven't. And what I think they should do is send these players to domestic cricket, have to basically review their performance every year, for lack of a better term, right? If not every year, then every 6 months or something like that. That would be very, very good for Pakistani cricket, because you'll nurture this, and Venu used the correct word, nurturing these players and getting them to play well for years upon years, and then bringing them back into the side. That's great, but not like Fawad Alam. You give him 11 years and you don't play him, right? Something like, I think 2-3 years, see how that person is doing. The best example I can think of, was it Hasib Hamid or someone, like an English opener? Can't remember his name exactly. You want to correct me if I'm wrong?
Sorry, say that again.
Is it Hasib Hamid or something like that?
Yes, Hasib Hamid for
Yeah.
England. Yeah, he was so good, and obviously now he's gone back.
Yeah, of course. So basically, he was good. He got injured, but then because he hasn't been back in form for quite a while, he's still been kind of low down there. I know, I'm 100% sure the English management probably see, oh, we brought him in. How's he doing now? Let's see, can he come back? He's not doing that well. Okay, fair enough. We'll give him some more time. It's not, oh, that guy debuted 10 years ago. Yeah, we're not going to look at him again, even if he's scoring thousands and thousands of runs every season or something. So yeah, that's something I think they should do. They should genuinely not drop him, but basically tell him, go to the side, go play domestic cricket, go perfect your art, get better, and then we'll review that after a short while.
Yeah, maybe as well. Then he can play with the Shaheens, for example, and so he can still tour, go around. There's less pressure on him, so he'll still play against decent players in different conditions, and he'll be able to work on his game. So I don't think it's a bad. He might come good in the home series. He might play, and he might come good. I think he's that good. I genuinely do think. I know you're saying he's a little bit of an average bowler, but I just think it's an experience. But I think the raw talent he's got is elite level. It's just he hasn't been honed yet in the right way, I think. And sometimes that happens in Pakistan.
You can't just do raw talent all the time. Like Pakistan has always relied on, oh, raw talent, raw talent. You need to nurture them as well.
Yeah, I think there's only a few, obviously, that will come at that age and they are going to be amazing. And that doesn't happen all the time. It's once every now and then, I think. Venu, in terms of, so Pakistan are quite strong at home, but away they're very, very poor. And there's a topic that's come in about, should Pakistan introduce drop-in pitches? As I think India now started to do it, and so that you have pitches that are playing differently rather than exactly the same pretty much around the whole country. So then you have at domestic level, you can even play on different styles of pitches so that when you do go and play in other countries, you're more adapted to the way they're playing. And similarly, obviously, international level as well. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it makes sense in terms of allowing players to try out different surfaces. But as a traditionalist for the game, I think it does take away, the what's the word? It just takes away from the game a bit. I think it just becomes a bit one-dimensional in a way, and I don't think that's good for cricket. But yeah, that's what I have to say on that matter.
Maybe it's a balance, like you're saying.
Act,
yeah,
yes.
like if you had like a three test match series, you might have one that's slightly, that drop in pitch, where the other two are going to be your traditional. Because I agree with you. I think there's a lot said for going to, for example, Sri Lanka, where England are going, and you think we've got to take two spinners and we've got to be good at playing spin, and it's an art and skill in itself to do it. So I think you don't want to lose that as well. So I agree with you, Venu, 100%. Okay, I think for Pakistan, that's kind of all I really want to touch upon in terms of the Pakistan New Zealand series. Do either of you have anything else additionally that you want to add to?
Well, I'll surprise you to mention Pakistan, or does Pakistan drop catches in that?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, we should mention that. I think that I put that to the back of my head because it's been so abysmal, and I've gone on about it so much that I've kind of just thought, I've completely forgotten about it. It's like when you have a nightmare and you subconsciously put it to the back of your mind. Yes, let's very briefly touch upon that. Drop catches. Since Mickey Arthur has left, Pakistan's fielding has gone from being pretty good, to be fair. I thought in the Champions Trophy it was good, that whole tournament. It's gone from here to basically progressively decline until, as Venu's just said, there were a number of drop catches, especially in that second test. I think it was 8 in total, at least. And some of them were very, very easy, some a bit harder. But either way, at that level, you have to be taking your catches. And as Venu rightly says, the old cliche, catches win matches. Look, what
Williamson was on 82 when he was dropped.
Yeah. He was on. We dropped on 82. We dropped him on, I think, it was like 115. We dropped him a few times on the way to that double hundreds, and that's not taking anything away from Kane Williamson. He is just quality, and he'll capitalise on anything. But I think when you make chances, especially when our bowling attack is not super strong, that when you are making chances, you just have to take them. Asjad, what can we do to change it?
Get a better setup. I don't know. Goodness me. Like, honestly, I think what you said about when Mickey Arthur was there, when Steve Rickson was there as the fielding coach, it really helped Pakistan become at par with what the world expects from a top-level cricketing side in terms of their fielding. Like, the best example I can give you, for me, I think Sri Lanka usually has been the best fielding side in Asia. right? Right now, yes, India and Sri Lanka are at balance, I'd say, but India had a terrible time of it as of late. But in general, I think those two sides have shown how you can consistently perform well in the field, how you can win because of fielding. Like, did you watch New Zealand's fielding? Like, they've saved at least 30 to 40 runs every innings, right? By fielding like absolute maniacs, right? Stopping boundaries, catches, everything. So
did you
that's
see
one thing.
Will Young's catch off? I think it was
Yeah,
Azhar Ali, wasn't it, or Abid Ali? One of the two. Off Carl
one of them.
Jameson. Just ridiculous catch. He's a sub fielder as well, right?
Yeah.
He just come on like that, diving to his right. I think it was one hand. Yeah, it was one hand. Just incredible. And like, we don't see that enough from Pakistan, unfortunately. People really putting
Exactly.
their bodies on the line, and it's seen as, I think, unfortunately, like it was. And you've made this. You've mentioned this actually in the 90s, where it's seen as being uncool or not trendy. You know, it's more trendy to bat. But what you don't realize is that catches and fielding, it has to be at a certain standard for a team to be at a certain level. And you can bat and bowl as well as you like, but if you don't take your chances, especially in the field, then you won't win matches and you won't win series. And it's as simple as that. Okay, I think that's us done. Unless Ash, do you want to say something?
No, I was just with regards to the fielding aspect, I just wanted to quickly mention that Pakistan's fielding, even domestically, has declined over the course of the last few years. Like, I know we both watched that final, the domestic final, right? Even in that, you saw players trying to stop the ball with their feet, right? And completely missing it. I haven't seen that in years. People try, I know you can't dive properly on Pakistani grounds because the grass is different, right? It's different types of surfaces, so it is quite rough. So that I'm fine with. But the way they fielded was just average. And that kind of reflects how, if you're bringing in a domestic coach or domestic fielding person into the international side, they're going to teach you the same thing. So it's not going to improve. If you bring someone with the quality of someone like, and I don't know who England's coach was, fielding coach, when Andy Flowers head coach, but whoever it was, he was brilliant, right? All of these international coaches, they bring a team with them. It's not just them, right? They bring a team with them which can give you that type of help. That would be brilliant. Like, if Pakistan could get John T. Rhodes, he would get them in shape. Get them in shape.
Yeah, I don't know. Thing is, the Pakistani pitches are very, very hard, the outfield. But I think just to touch upon what Ash was saying, because before everyone like obviously trying to save any runs with your feet is a very village thing, and you see that on a Sunday league in the UK. If I'm being honest with you, you don't see that much even at like top level kind of cricket at club level, for example, anymore. So it's frowned upon massively. But in Pakistan, it's rock hard. They're talking about almost cement outfields. So they need to improve the outfields as well, I think, there, so that players are more willing to do that. And yeah, coaching. But yeah, okay. Thank you very much for being on, Asjad and Venu. Please check out Venu's segment, Venu's Cricket Catch Up, which we do weekly, or he puts together weekly even. And I am lucky enough to join him, and it's a very, very good segment. Check it out. And Asjad from Cricket4Us 2.0, check out his channel as well. I'll leave the channel description, subscribe button at the end of this video as well. Thank you very much, both of you, and stay safe. Thank you.